and it's going to come out wonderfully brown and beautiful smelling. We're doing making your own onion soup.
The following spy site is not on our street northwest, but further down, near Foggy Bottom. Our first stop is a famous gourmet chef and best-selling author's home. She even had her own cooking show. Still, you probably didn't know that she worked for an intelligence agency and lived in the Georgetown section of Washington, D.C. Julia Child was a chef, author, and personality, best known for introducing French cuisine to the American public through her cookbook, Mastering the Art of French Cuisine, and her television show, The French Chef. Out of all of her 500 plus recipes and 16 cookbooks, only one recipe was so classified it was labeled a national security secret. This recipe is a recipe for sharks.
Public relations then to Wild Bill Donovan and the OSS.
Well, then World War II came along, and in your generation you don't realize that in mine we were saving the world, so that everybody that I knew was in the Army or the Navy or down in Washington. So that's where I went, and I got into the OSS.
Julia started working for Wild Bill as a typist in the Secret Intelligence Division, making hundreds of note cards with officers' names using her typewriter. Soon, she would be drafted into a more critical role that would surprisingly shape her future. The Emergency Sea Rescue Equipment Section, ESRES, was in charge of depth mines used to destroy German U-boats. Still, for some reason, sharks would swim close to these depth mines and accidentally detonate the mines that were meant for German U-boats. Julia was drafted into this more critical role. Her first task was to start developing something to repel sharks away from these mines and her fellow allied divers. Julia started creating various concoctions and experimenting with multiple food combinations to find something that would offend sharks so they would not swim close to these bombs. She was cooking and creating recipes in a secret lab in downtown Washington, D.C. She experimented with many foods and chemical combinations. Eventually, after a few lengthy trials and hard work, her recipe would pay off. She successfully created shark repellent, and her recipe is still in use today. The shark repellent went on to help secure Allied depth bombs and mines that would end up targeting and destroying German U-boats. The shark repellent was an incredible victory for the Allied forces. You see, at this point in the war, German U-boats were among our highest priority, and Julia just provided a major key in help combating these German U-boats. German U-boats were responsible for sinking several American ships during World War II. U-boats were particularly effective at sinking merchant vessels responsible for transporting troops and supplies to the front lines. Many American soldiers lost their lives as a result of these attacks. For Julia's monumental achievement, she would be awarded the Emblem of Meritorious Civilian Service. The irony is this was Julia Child's first public recipe, and it was a national secret, and it was only available to the intelligence community. And through this experience, she would go on to find a love for cooking. After the war, she attended the prestigious Le Cordon Bleu French cooking school in France. She published several cookbooks, becoming the world's first female host of a national cooking show. You can walk by Julia's Georgetown home at 2706 Olive Street Northwest, or visit her kitchen at the permanent exhibit on the ground floor of the Smithsonian National Museum of American History.
So now you've learned 2 recipes for the price of 1, and you can open your own French restaurant with bœuf bourguignon and coq au vin on the menu. Bon appétit! That's all for today on The French Chef. This is Julia Child.